Father P, but I mean, despite your many ties to Inagua, I don't see you bringing any donkey. I don't see you bringing any wild pork meat. I mean, you have a whole party tomorrow, and I don't see you bringing anything for us.
Oh man,
Do they still use donkeys in Inagua? I don't think so.
Ask him, he'll tell you.
Yeah, they do, but I've strongly discouraged them from doing that. I think that is fundamentally wrong. That is a part of our heritage. God gave us plenty more meat. They must not be doing that.
Well,
I told them categorically it's wrong.
So I just say to you, Father P, it tastes good. That's all I'll say.
Well, you know about that.
I've never been, but trust me, my taste buds get around.
Yeah, it sounds so.
Trust me, I know about the hush hush, I know about everything.
Now, hush hush is a little different. I
mean. Jimmy, what happens when you're not going to station? You're not going.
That's true. That's true. Well, you see, they let the cat out of the bag. So I just tell them that you and I strongly opposed to that.
Now 5 minutes after 7. This meeting is called to order. Good morning, everyone.
Should I tell them that
Welcome to this morning's meeting.
Felix?
That'd be appropriate.
Father P, the meeting has started. Thank you. We'll have the invocation by Rotarian Leah Kala. I don't see her online.
I am.
Oh, good morning to you. Thank you.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for yet another beautiful day. It's certainly great to be in the land of the living. We thank you for the opportunity of being able to gather again as a group as we come together to do the work of Rotary, service above self. Bless everyone here today and those that were unable to join us today. I also ask that you bless our country as we begin our vaccination rollout. We ask you for health, safety, and wisdom as we go through this process. All of these things I ask in your precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen. The loyal toast, Rotarian Tanisha.
Good morning, everyone. Raise your glasses and mugs to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
To the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thank you. Welcoming our guests, Secretary Donnet, visiting Rotarians.
Thank you, President Francis. It is my pleasure to extend a cheerful, warm welcome, first to our Rotarians who are visiting, as protocol allows. I'd like to welcome, as usual, PP Valerie from the Rotary Club of Abaco. Welcome, PP Valerie. Welcome to the family. Also,
thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Visiting from our Rotaract Club of Nassau Sunset, I see President Latoya. Welcome, President Latoya.
Good morning. Thank you.
I'm seeing Rotaractor Davard Thompson. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the meeting.
Good morning.
And I think I've scanned my screen and that covers it for visiting Rotarians. So now I'll welcome our guests. I'll start with the chairman, Mr. Adrian Gibson, and he's no stranger to us in media and in politics. We know our chairman of water and sewage. And it's a very timely visit, and we look forward to hearing from you. Welcome, Mr. Chairman. Also visiting is Yvonne Gibson Sands. Yvonne has been visiting for some time now. You'll hear her job talk this morning as we look to bring her into membership. And my special guest is Dr. Ilsa Grant Taylor. And Dr. Taylor, are you still on? I'm not seeing her on my screen.
I'm right here. Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome, welcome. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the meeting. And so I'll ask Rotarians who have guests. If you have guests, Rotarians, please open your mic and introduce your guests.
Madam Secretary, could you welcome infrequent visitor, the member from Yamakura?
I don't like to set up my Rotarians, but
thank you very much to my mentor and Father Felix.
But I want to extend a warm welcome to
Minister Ellsworth.
Welcome. We're always happy when you find the time to come, and
yes,
it's a pleasure to have you this morning. And I think that's it. If there are no guests of Rotarians, then I am left just to welcome all of you to the meeting and hope that you enjoy the meeting. It's Water and Sanitation Month. And of course, you'll hear more about that from our speaker, and Kemi will share some of the exciting activities we have planned for the month. So please enjoy the meeting. Back to you, President Francis.
Thank you, Secretary Donnet. And now you're welcome to have the floor, Sergeant at Arms, Father P. Jokes and fines.
Morning. Let me start off by finding Felix. You're trying to draw a crowd on my good friend Ellsworth, man. And Ellsworth already told Chairman Adrian Gibson that he is here every week, 6:30 every morning, in place and everything else. And now you done let the cat out of the bag. Give me $5 for that, please. Everybody else $5. Are the bad boys here? Lavelle, Cresswell, are they here? I haven't found them for a little while.
Not here yet.
Not here yet. Madam Treasurer, please make sure that if and when they come, or even if they don't come, I have to find them because I haven't found them.
Lavelle is signing in now.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Now who running this meeting? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. What's your designation now? PDG. Anyway, it's amazing the vaccine rollout. Somebody suggested that you should just put it in beer, and everybody would be vaccinated in half of the year. But or tell some of the ladies that it will do something with their skin tone, and then everything will be just all right. We have a politician today, of course, and Felix asked me to mention the story of the politician. But before that, I'll tell you the story about this man who was 60 and his wife was 60. And they had birthday and he was praying to the Lord. The Lord appeared to him at this birthday party. And the Lord said, my son, you've been so faithful over all these many years in church and state and every place else. You've been very faithful. I want to give you whatever you desire, I will give to you. So he said, Lord, I am 60 and my wife is 60. I always wanted a wife who was 30 years younger than I am. Immediately he became 90. Okay, Felix, you remember the one about the politician that I mentioned? This pastor was leaving his post. It was a Roman Catholic priest or an Anglican priest, one of them. And he said that they were having this celebration for him. So people were getting up and saying that what a great priest he was and all that kind of stuff, you know. The local politician, I want the politicians to remember this. Whenever you're late, you gotta find out what was said before you arrive. So he said, so the local politician was not there, late again. So everybody got up, said good things about the pastor. The pastor then got up and he said, I really did not want to stay in this jurisdiction. Can you imagine? I was a young priest when I came, and the first person who came to me confessed to me that he had committed adultery, he had embezzled government funds, he had stolen clients' money, and it was just too much for me as a young priest. That's why I'm on my first confession. So about 3 minutes later, the politician came rushing in, putting on his coat, late again, and it was his time to speak. So he said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank Father Johnson for his great and stellar contribution to this community. And on behalf of all of us, I'd just like to say, thank you, sir. And I want to say from a personal note that he and I share a very special relationship. In fact, I was the first person who ever went to him for confession.
Father, you have another joke, right?
Hope you find yourself for the
No, just because you ain't catch it.
It's early in the morning, P.
The woman said to her husband, I think I'm losing my mind. He said, yeah, for the last 30 years, you've been giving me a piece of it every morning. The person who says, the man who finds a wife has found happiness. They said, Felix, he has apologized. Thank you all. Have a good and blessed day.
I would never say that.
No, not you.
No.
All right. Have a good one, y'all. Okay.
Thank you. There are no birthday or anniversary announcements this morning, so we'll move right into Yvonne. Let me invite her to now take the floor and do her job talk. Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Do I have to show my face?
Yes.
It would be good if you would.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Okay. Good morning, everybody. There I am. Here I am. Good morning, Madam President, Madam Secretary, and distinguished Rotarians and the guests of Rotarians. Good morning. Well, I told I'm given 5 minutes, but I think this is going to be less than 5 minutes. My name is Yvonne Gibson Sands. I am presently a sales manager at Colina Centerville branch. I've been in the insurance industry for about 22 years. And prior to that, I was in the financial industry, offshore bank for 9 years, Bahamas Judicial Department for 9 years as one of the first Bahamian court reporters. Presently, I have a daughter and I have a granddaughter who brings a lot of joy to my life. The granddaughter does. Well, the daughter does too. And I have been coming to the Rotary meeting for a number of years now, as a matter of fact. And but I'm now seeing the vision, and I'm seeing where I can find my place to make a contribution to the extended community. I had a friend in Grand Bahama, post-Dorian, and every time I would call her, she was always busy delivering water, delivering food, and she just seemed so passionate and driven by what she was doing, totally committed. And I asked her, where do you get all the supplies from, the food and the water? And she said, I'm a Rotarian. And, you know, we talk about it. And I was very impressed because I'm no stranger in making a contribution to my immediate community, but to be able to extend my service beyond my immediate community means a whole lot to me. And I thank Donna, who was relentless, because every time I think, even though I procrastinated a lot, she was always behind me, from time to time inviting me to meetings. So now I think I understand the vision, I see the vision, and I think I can make my contribution to my community in terms of service above self. And I'm ready to make that commitment, and hopefully the distinguished Rotarians would have me.
Thank you, prospective Rotarian Yvonne. Thank you very much. And now we will have our announcements.
Okay, I guess the floor is mine then. And it feels so wonderful to come on after prospective Rotarian Yvonne talking about the issue and challenge of water. As we all know, this month is Water and Sanitation Month. So for the club, I will hope you will engage me because I need your support with a few activities we're going to plan for this month. The first one, of course, would be that we are having our virtual submission for persons to record a short video talking about the importance of water and sanitation, particularly during a COVID environment. Based on reports so far, our reach for the program is extended to well over 4,000 persons who've read our messaging, and but hopefully I've had some side conversations with persons who've read it. So it's definitely making an impact and touching people to start thinking about the need for proper water and sanitation. The second thing I want to speak about is an activity that's going to start this weekend as well as next weekend. You'll see a map on the screen here. This is in the Over the Hill area where we have 79 government pumps, outside pumps where persons who don't have water in their homes go for water. What we're trying to do this weekend as well as next weekend in partnership with our Rotaractors is to go and just do some cleaning up of some of these pumps, removing garbage, removing debris, maybe doing a little weeding if necessary, and just scrubbing down some of these pumps. Why is this so important? Because it also gives us a chance for visibility in the community. We're looking at between 9 to 12 in the morning because that's when persons are going to be at the pumps. So we also have a chance to put into practice what we've learned in terms of water conservation from our speaker last week to engage the public. So that's an important exercise that I think will add a lot of value to what the club is trying to achieve. Also moving beyond that, the next week, Monday, is International Water Day. And we are in partnership with Occupure, and we're going to donate 1,000 gallons of water to the Red Cross, more specifically to their Meals on Wheels programs, which feeds over 250 seniors every single day, well, 6 days a week. So we're in partnership with them, and we're going to have a donation ceremony on Monday, planning for noon. So I want as many Rotarians as possible to attend the event. Shortly before we start, around 11 o'clock, what I'm proposing is that as many Rotarians as possible can show up. We've had these decals made up that we intend to place on the water bottles. As the seniors receive the water, they know who it's being donated from. They know it's coming from Rotary as well as in partnership with Occupure. So as many persons as that can attend, I invite you to do so, and I will send out details for those times and events shortly to the club. Thank you so much for your time. Back to you, President.
Just one question, Rotarian Kami.
Yes, Madam President.
You need assistance in placing those decals on the bottles. Which day do you have that planned for?
I've shifted the schedule around a bit, so I'm thinking if persons can show up at 11 o'clock, we should be able to place them on in time sufficiently for the 12 o'clock donation. Okay, so we can kind of merge everything together. It shouldn't be just putting the labels on the bottle, shouldn't be something that's going to get anyone dirty. So we can just do that quickly before we actually do the presentation around noon. So persons don't have to take extra time, they can just take an early lunch.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Other announcements?
President, I'll just use the opportunity to welcome some persons who joined us after the welcome. Welcome to PP Jackie from the Rotary Club of Eleuthera. Welcome, PP Jackie, always great to have you. Also visiting all the way from St. Martin Sunset, President Alicia Lake, welcome. And Alandra, I hope I got your name. I didn't butcher your name. Alandra Russell. She is also a visitor. She found us on social media. And so we're delighted to have you, and we hope you enjoy the meeting. And I think that covers those who came in after. Now the raffle this morning is a Brookstone wireless speaker. Tickets are 1 for $5 and 3 for $10. So if you're interested in the raffle, just put it in the chat, and we'll arrange to collect from you after. We close at 7:50, so I have enough time to prepare the raffle, which will be drawn at the end of the meeting for those who are visitors. Thank you.
Thank you too. Announcements?
Good morning, Madam President. I'll make an announcement. Morning. Tomorrow evening, as you all know, we're having our game night tomorrow, a social night tomorrow. We'll be hosting a bingo game tomorrow evening. Tickets will be sold $5 for $5 for 3 games. We have lots of prizes and surprises for tomorrow. Please come out and enjoy the event. It's going to be a fun night. I know Secretary Donath would have circulated the communication in regards to the number. You can have drive-throughs. The drive-through process on a number of at least under 20 of us all will be there tomorrow for the game night. But you also participate virtually. So just come out and have a good night. There's gonna be a lot of prizes and surprises, and the tickets are gonna be sold $5 for 3 games. That's it.
Thank you, P. Therese. May we now have an update on the 20th anniversary booklet, please?
Madam President, I guess that would be me, right?
Yes. Thank you, PDG.
So, I do apologize because, as you know, this time of the year is a terrible time for me. So we're busy planning all the training for the incoming Rotary leaders. And so I'm snowed under, so I've been a little bit delinquent. We will have a meeting, hopefully, not this week, early next week, where we'll be able to update you properly, and then we can update the club at next week's meeting. But presently, we have letters in circulation for circulating for funding for the booklet, and we're appealing to Rotarians, so please take out the ads in the book.
Thank you, PDG. And I would like to say that as Rotarians, 20th anniversary, this is an occasion that we really need to go get out there and support this initiative. So I'm asking that all of us engage your employers, your friends, your family members. Let us begin to push the sale of this booklet. We know that what we have to do, MOU depends on this. The MOU is actually supported by the funds that we raise from the booklet. And so I'm depending on all of you. We are, the committee is depending on all of you to do your part and let us make this a success. Thank
Madam
you.
President, maybe you can just remind members what the purpose of the MOU.
The MOU is we want to assist those persons who wish to pursue tertiary education through BTVI and do not have funds available or the means to provide for their further education. And so we want to reach out and assist those persons through the MOU at BTVI. Thank you. Any further announcements?
Yes, President Francis, you just reminded me of something I forgot. For the club's information, on Tuesday past, the board approved me to continue conversations with social services around getting a grant from our COB to do infrastructure upgrades in terms of like a solar water heater for one of the elder care facilities on the island. The club will be pleased to know social services is happy about that idea. I've also spoken to Debbie Deal, who's in charge of the energy committee at the Chamber of Commerce. So the chamber is on board and they can help us do the scoping, the costing. So we're moving very swiftly in terms of getting everything we need to apply for this grant. That'll definitely make a huge impact for the seniors who are at the Demetrius Center in Fox Hill.
Thank you, Rotarian Kami. And now just another quick announcement as it relates to the vaccine volunteers. Our COB still needs volunteers to help with the vaccine process. So please submit your names to me or Rotarian Patrick, who is our point person for the club. So far, there are only 10 of us who have signed up for this initiative. We need more persons from the club to step forward and give their support. So please send in your names. There are 3 areas that are to be covered. We need persons are needed for data entry, verification, and to assist with parking. And so those are the areas that volunteers are needed. So please step up. There are several scheduling. Of course, there's scheduling 7:30 to midday and midday to 4 and beyond. And so please step up and do your part to assist in this great initiative. Thank you. And now we move on to PDG.
Sorry, Madam President, my name is not on your list, but I've been coerced into becoming a coordinator for a couple of the days down at Loyola House, or whatever it's called.
Loyola
Hall. So please, you can put me on your list as volunteering.
Yes, thank you. And now we'll ask Rotarian Therese to introduce our guest speaker, the Honorable Adrian Gibson, Executive Chairman of Water and Sewage Corporation, who will speak on the topic, bringing water to the people.
Thank you, Madam President. Morning. Attorney at law, educator, and former columnist who he considers himself through and through. As a training teacher, he was taught at the LW Young, the S.C. McPherson, and briefly at the College of the Bahamas. Mr. Gibson is also Bahamas.
Therese, we can't hear anything you're saying. You're cutting out.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, but every other word was being cut out. So I'm not sure if it's your Wi-Fi or but something is wrong with your audio.
You're clearing up. Go ahead, Therese.
In time, once again, attorney at law, businessman and former columnist. He's an accomplished Mr. Gibson for 13 years. The Tribune newspaper. And panelists and such as the International in 2012, he with the LW. He subsequently attended the and graduated with his certificate.
Okay, we still can't really hear anything, Therese.
Nothing.
Every other word keeps going out, so I really didn't hear anything you said.
And it's the important parts that are missing.
Yes.
Right.
Apologies.
So we're hearing, and he subsequently went to
Minister just
died. So probably Kemi could just, in a nutshell, just introduce the the chairman.
Sorry, you're right. So apologies for that, Chairman, but I'll be brief. So we have today with us Mr. Chairman Adrian Gibson, MP for Long Island, and also Chairperson for the Water and Sewage Corporation. Mr. Gibson, from what I know of him, in terms of my interactions with him in the past, he's a stellar MP and very committed politician. He's a columnist for the Tribune. He's been a contributing writer there for many, many years, writing very impactful and poignant stories for the Bahamian public. He's a former student. Well, he actually taught previously at LW Young and SC McPherson schools, and briefly at the College of the Bahamas. He is an attorney by profession, and is surprisingly He was actually selected to represent the Bahamas at the 2000 Olympic Youth Camp in Sydney, Australia in the past. That's something I didn't even know myself. But in the interest of time, I'll pass it over to you, Chairman Gibson, to give your presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for inviting me. I am really happy to be with you all this morning. You know, one of the things I wondered this morning is, how do you dress for this? You know, I said, I'll just put on a polo shirt before I really get dressed to go to work. As you know, water is life. It is very important, particularly in these times where we have COVID-19 and this horrible pandemic that's been plaguing the world for the last year and a half or so. So certainly our corporation, the Water and Sewage Corporation, has played a major role in mitigating the impact of this pandemic. Let me start at the beginning though, and let you know the mandate of the Water and Sewage Corporation. Pursuant to the Water and Sewage Corporation Act, the mandate of the corporation is or covers the grant and control of water rights, the protection of water resources, regulating the extraction, use, and supply of water, and of course, the disposal of waste and for connected purposes. And this would also include ensuring or installing ourselves pipes and carrying out various capital works throughout the country. The last few months has been very challenging for the corporation financially. But notwithstanding that, we continue to strive to live up to the mandate. And this is largely undergirded by funds from CDB loan, IDB loan, government, and monies that we bring in. Of course, as you can appreciate, we've incurred monumental losses over the last year. And this is due in large part to the fact that one, COVID has impacted the economy in such a way that persons have lost their jobs, people are choosing which bills to pay, some people aren't able to pay bills at all. And of course, we do not have the threat of disconnections at this point. That was always an impetus to get people to come in. Since March of last year, we have not disconnected a single customer. And notwithstanding that, though, I continue to encourage persons to come in and pay their bills, or at least put something on it, because like I say, the reality is the bill will still be there even after COVID goes away. It'll still be waiting for them. And so, in the present, when persons at least make a payment, this is how the corporation pays its staff. This is how we're able to execute the various repairs and undertake the capital works that you see us undertaking. Year to date, if we look at December 2019 versus December 2020, we incurred a 30% loss. And so in 19, we collected some 53.6 million versus 2020, where we collected some 37.3 million. This figure didn't include the payment of water bills by government agencies, which you know can be far and in between. But there was some payments by government agencies as well during both of those years. Last month, February, we collected some 2.5 million versus 3.6 million in February 2020, when the pandemic, you still started beginning to see the effects, but more importantly, it just come out of this Hurricane Dorian, which impacted our second largest center. So between February this year and February last year, we've had a 30% fall off as well. Fortunately though, in Abaco, we've seen a 342% increase in cash collections from 8,700 in February 2020 to 38,909 in February 2021. Both of those numbers pale in comparison to what the usual numbers were out of Abaco, which would hover somewhere around 350 to 400,000 a month. We've embarked on various reforms over the last few years, from burgeoning development of an orientation and training program that I refer to as WSE University. The persons come in and they don't just be thrown onto the job. We give them a week of orientation. We encourage constant retraining. From that to the digitization of the entity and the deployment of technology throughout the archipelago, to the rollout of a procurement portal for vendors to submit bids, and documents to more community involvement in the corporation's processes, for example, the app we have, and then of course taking on COVID in a progressive manner that is also supportive of the Bahamian public. And now we're looking at tariff reforms and some other reforms as we move into the future. As part of our master planning, we have implemented a new Family Island water supply development strategy, which was developed with the support and funding of the Inter-American Development Bank at some $250,000. Now, this study provided the basis for a countrywide strategy for all of the islands and an updated approach to servicing the family islands. And I can tell you all that this study has pretty much created a roadmap for how we could execute getting water and sewage facilities to all of the islands. Right now, the study says that if government was to invest some 50 to 60 million, we'll be able to take the water network pretty much to all of the islands. I want to look at a few of the islands. Since Hurricane Dorian, I can tell you that Grand Bahama and Abaco, and more particularly Abaco, because Grand Bahama is a private company, the GBUC, we've assisted them with some technical support. But those two places have had a major focus from the initial phase, which was the emergency response, to the restoration of systems that were extensively damaged, to system maintenance, and now system reconstruction. So to date in Abaco, we've awarded contracts for vehicles, equipment, new facilities, restoration works, new construction services to the tune of some 15+ million. And we anticipate needing another 15 million to complete our reconstruction and restorative works in Abaco. So far, we've undertaken extensive water distribution system improvement works for Marsh Harbor and Treasure Key. We've purchased new desalination plants for places like Moores Island and Sweetensky. We've placed at every location standby generators. We've demolished the damaged and destroyed tanks that we would have suffered during the hurricane, and we're installing new tanks, a 1.5 million gallon tank in Marsh Harbor, which triples the capacity that was previously there. We're installing a new tank in Treasure Key as well as Grand Key, and we have undertaken repairs to the Green Turtle storage tank. We've also purchased new fleet vehicles and heavy plant, that's equipment as well. We lost all of our vehicles during Hurricane Dorian, and so we had to pretty much declare a complete write-off with the insurance company. We've also been put in a position where we've had to construct new offices and operational buildings because we lost those as well. Carrying out fence works and various other projects, including the building refurbishment and replacement of the sewer systems in Treasure Key and Spring City, which suffered major losses, major damage during the hurricane. The Marsh Harbor wellfield and pumping stations, in that area, we've undertaken a solarization project, which is a joint venture between WSC and the non-governmental international organizations such as Water Mission and the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF. I always embrace these kinds of joint ventures. There's another one we're looking to embark upon in Treasure Key and a couple others. And so anyone who have an idea or something that could be mutually beneficial to us all, I encourage them to come forward and let's talk. To date, the estimated cost of the solar project in Marsh Harbor is some 2.5+ million, and it is anticipated that this project will be fully completed and commissioned within the next month or two. WSC would be the first entity to have a solar farm in Abaco, one of the first to have a solar farm throughout the country. And this farm would put the corporation in a position to mitigate, build resiliency, build capacity in the event of a storm, in the event of a power outage where we don't have BPL power, etc. And BPL power and the constant outages have been haunting us in Eleuthera, and I'll speak more to that when I get to Eleuthera. But despite the progress made to date, WSC in Abaco estimates that we will need approximately some 15 million, as I stated earlier, to complete our works. and that those works, those monies will be divided between sewage works in Treasure Key and Spring City, some 8.5 million, which would include a modern tertiary level wastewater treatment plant for Treasure Key that's capable of providing irrigation quality reuse water. 2.7 million in additional water mains for Marsh Harbor and Treasure Key, some 2 million for the solarization of the Treasure Key pumping station and well fields. And that's a MOU that we have on the table as well to sign with UNICEF and those guys, pending funding. And of course, additional electrical works needed in Marsh Harbor. And as it relates to Green Turtle Key, we need to properly secure and repair the underwater line that connects mainland Abaco to Green Turtle Key. We've undertaken major works in various other islands as well. Andros, for example, where we've carried out major water supply infrastructure to the tune of some $6.7 million. That is laying some 163,130 feet of pipe. We've updated the various with the wellfield supply in places like the Bluff, where they encountered a lot of red water challenges. Drake's Hill, we've completed water mains in various parts of Andrews, from Nicholstown to Mastic Point to Count Sound. And of course, we've upgraded valves and pumping and all key fixtures in Central, South, and North Abaco. We've also installed Andros. We've also installed various tanks, storage tanks, and chlorination systems, so that we could upgrade the system, extend the life of the system, and really provide people from one part of Andros to the next with quality water. In Eleuthera, as you may have been hearing in recent time, we've had some challenges with power. BPL's unstable power that has actually blown or caused serious damage to transformers connected to our plants, also blown or caused damage to generators, or blown and caused damage to our the electrical side of things. And so that has been a constant behind the scenes back and forth, and then trying to continue to keep the water flowing for the people of Eleuthera, because the reality is people are not into excuses, and I'm not interested in giving any. And so we have to do what is necessary to have the water flowing. So what we've tried to do is complement the RO water with well fields and blend the supply to ensure that at least we try to maintain some supply there. That is something that we're actively looking into and trying to stabilize that, notwithstanding the power issues. And so that is something that we're working on now. But in Eleuthera, we have refurbished various well fields to provide interim water quality relief and water relief, upgraded the distribution system in places like Harbor Island to eliminate poor water circulation and improve the water quality. We've installed new pump stations, piping and distribution pumps for all of North Eleuthera, which now complements the completion of a new 600,000 imperial gallon per day reverse osmosis plant. And this plant has the capacity to expand to up to 2 million imperial gallons per day, which just would make this plant the biggest in all of the family islands. We've completed various buildings and edifices in Eleuthera and procured automatic purging systems for the entire island of Eleuthera, which would make the systems more efficient and maintain operations in terms of flushing the system and so on. Recently we provided a new water tanker for South Eleuthera to assist in emergencies. And as those of us who've been to the islands, we know that there are areas on these islands that are unserviced, and so we have to take the water to them because we don't have pipe to carry the water directly to their households. So we've also included in our Eleuthera upgrade storage tanks and pump stations, and of course we're about to install a brand new plant in Waterford, Eleuthera, some 265,000 imperial gallons. In recent months, we have signed a $3.1 million contract in Cat Island for some 65,000 feet of pipe works. This is the first time that Cat Island will have water. I remember visiting Cat Island some years ago, I think it was 2018,
and observing people toting the water. And I know how that feels because I've had to grow up drawing water from a well or having a Myers pump on a well, like most family islanders, and that water being pumped into the house. And then you know how poor well water can be when you have a hurricane. The water's muddy and usually brackish as is, but it's a worse state at the time. In Cat Island, we're also looking at installing 2 new RO plants, and these will be put in simultaneously or simultaneous to the works that's already being undertaken in respective pipes. Exuma and Ragged Island, we've undertaken various improvements there to the distribution system, which complements the road paving program that's being coordinated by the Ministry of Works. And we've installed additional reverse osmosis capacity in Ragged Island. Since the storm that pretty much decimated Ragged Island, we were first, I'm proud to say we were first on the ground, and we were the first agency to be operational. We put a brand new plant in there. However, since then, given the current and foreseeable water demands, we've tripled the water capacity in Ragged Island, which would allow for development of the islands, the building of the new schools, and whoever wants to go to Ragged Island and rebuild or invest on the island. In Exuma, we've also improved the distribution network and production in Black Point. We have an impending project to renew some water lines in Georgetown. And so we are looking forward to means and ways that we could improve the water for the people of Exuma. You've seen similar improvements in places like Iguana. We've had distribution upgrades. Acklands, we placed a new tanker in there to ensure delivery to places like Hard Hill. We've elevated electrical switches in places like Lovely Bay to prevent damage from flooding and learning from the Hurricane Dorian experience. And we are about to install a new reverse osmosis plant in Acklands. In Crooked Island, we are reaching the end of a Caribbean Development Bank water mains project, which will be commissioned in the coming months. A little over $2 million was spent there to install some 25,175 feet of pipe, and this will service a little more than 100 persons on Crooked Island. I think Crooked Island has about roughly 300 people, 250, and so with this year, we're looking to at least target half of the island's population with a view to expanding in future. We'll also be installing a new RO plant to complement that project. And so that plant has been procured, and we expect that to arrive in the next 14 days. It's in Salvador. As you may be aware, in 2019, we commissioned a $1.3 million distribution network, new pipe works, and we are installing a new 110,000 imperial gallon RO plant. We are taking over a contract from a previous provider. Many of these contracts, as you've heard me say publicly, were egregiously and negotiated. They were egregious contracts. They were not beneficial to the corporation or the Bahamian public. And with us taking over some of these plants and having formulated an RO unit to administer contracts as well as respond to plant failures and install plants, we are going to be saving millions per year and retaining some of that 40 to 50 million that we spend every year purchasing water from foreign providers, all of whom are not Bahamian. And in Agua, likewise, we are installing a new 110,000 imperial gallon RO plant. There again, taking over another contract. And all of these plants we already have in country. In Bimini, we have an agreement there with a reverse osmosis supplier around Bahamas. And we have seen some reduced costs and water savings, which I think is beneficial to the wider public. Now, as I begin to wind down, I want to note that we've been working very closely with the Ministry of Works to upgrade underground infrastructure prior to much of the road paving you see in Providence as well. And I can tell you in places like Nassau Street, we spent some 560,000 improving the water mains there. On Nassau Street, we installed some 4,360 feet of 6-inch PVC pipe and replaced about 60 water service laterals. Same thing in Northwest Ridge Estates, where we spent some 152,000 and replaced a number of service laterals to better the water quality, and the Assistant Ministry of Works with its road paving. Alexandria Boulevard replaced some 840 feet of pipe. And then of course on Washington Street, which I think is in Angleston, some 74,000 was expended and we replaced some 1,800 feet of PVC pipe, which resulted in a number of new connections, etc. At present, we are undertaking a major project in Tropical Gardens. Phase 1, I think it's now completed. We're on to phase 2, and we're looking to improve water quality in that area and also do some pipe change outs and upgrades prior to major road paving there. We expect the same to happen in areas like Bamboo Boulevard, Claridge Road, Mohammed Boulevard, St. Vincent Road, etc. in the coming weeks. I'm proud to note that we are working with the Over the Hill Development Unit in the Office of the Prime Minister to increase potable water connectivity to residents in the Over the Hill area. A pilot project is in the works, and as we speak, teams are moving, I think this week, moving about Bola Avenue and Quaco Street with a view to installing new mains. Our teams have been doing so and upgrading the existing mains there. And we want to work with the residents who've never had portable water supply so that they can get connected at a government subsidized rate. For those who previously had a connection but are now disconnected due to financial hardship, the plan is for them to receive some kind of government subsidized rebate to return to WSC water supply. So the results of this pilot project in Bola Avenue and Quaco Street will direct the expansion of this project into other parts of Over the Hill. And lastly, sewer. We've had some major upgrades with respect to sewer. We've spent some $16 million via an IDB loan, developing the Fox Hill wastewater treatment plant at some 1.7 million, the Malcolm Park wastewater treatment plant at 8.4 million, the Linden International wastewater treatment plant at 3.1 million, and the Flamingo Gardens wastewater treatment plant at some 3.16 million. These works are largely completed. We are doing some overhauls and final assessment before we seek to commission them formally. But we've also rehabilitated 10 sewage pumping stations throughout New Providence, from Nassau Street to Rawson Square to Supreme Court to Vista Marina to Fox Hill, etc. And we're looking forward to improving our performance in the area of sewer and sewage management. We are looking to enter some talks with some of with the private sector, with one or two arms or aspects concerning aspects of sewer and wastewater. Disappointingly, with respect to the Gladstone Road plant, we inherited what would have been a monumental undertaking. It would have had monumental impact and certainly would have been beneficial to the Water and Sewage Corporation, but we inherited a plant that was poorly executed. Some 18 plus 19 million was spent on this plant, and it's still not completed. The plant was originally estimated to cost some 7 million. And so we've had some challenges there, and I know there's some talks surrounding that as well. But I want to note that we continue to strive to extend water to places where we don't currently have water. And we want to, as much as possible, give Bahamians an opportunity for participation in the sector, but also to create an atmosphere of development. And I'll give you a story as I conclude. Some years ago, I was looking at a property, I think it was in Exuma. I know it was in Exuma, and it was a sweet deal, some $5,000 or thereabouts. And when I read the fine print, I was gung-ho. When I read the fine print, it said that there was no water, no phone, no light, and that was it. And I thought about that as it relates to family island development, as it relates to other persons who are coming in and looking to develop these islands. Not many persons are going to come in places where you don't have the infrastructure. So if I saw it that way from that little lot, imagine an investor coming in to spend $100 million, $200 million. So it's important that the infrastructure is in place because that fosters development, gives people access to basic amenities that they should have had many years ago. And it causes, I think, the economy to be boosted. So I thank you all for inviting me, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Minister Gibson. Wonderful presentation, quite enlightening. And now we'll open the floor for questions. Are there any questions for the minister?
If I may, President Francis, good morning, President Francis, fellow Rotarians, and
good morning, AG Kala.
Good morning, Minister. Good to see you this early in the morning. Just a general question. So you've canvassed the archipelago. What would you say is just the greatest challenge generally from where you sit for the provision of these services, and what is your hope?
Well, that's an easy question. Money. Money. If we have the funds, we'll be able to do so much more. So you're trying to balance the funds. You're trying to take from this place to do something here. I've developed a scheme that I'm sure others will probably take up later on, which is, I noticed that they weren't using the in-house teams like that. I'm like, listen, you're a plumber, you can do this, you can do this. I just formed multiple in-house teams and deployed them, right? I realized that, they can use a backhoe or a small trencher, and we got a number of small trenches as well. Take them to an island and they could do the works in-house. So there's no reason for a corner or a roadway or whatever to be off, because while it might not be a part of a major CDB or IDB project, you can still send in-house teams to do some of that work. But money is the greatest challenge.
Thank you. And I do wish you well, and thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for the minister? There being no other questions, we'll invite Rotarian Kami to do the vote of thanks on behalf of the club.
So thank you, President Francis. So Chairman Gibson, definitely I would like to say a very heartfelt thank you on behalf of the club for your participation and humoring us today with your very enlightening presentation. You touched on a few things that I really took to heart. Because after being the program manager for the Over the Hill project for quite some time, I'm very pleased to hear that the works are starting to actually bring water to many persons who don't have access to it and have never had access to public water in their life. So I think you guys are doing some very amazing things, and just want you to keep encouraged. And from the Ministry of Finance side, I think I'll see what I can do now to make sure y'all get the money you need as you ask for.
Thank you very much.
But with that, thank you on behalf of Rotary Club of Nassau Sunrise. So.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rotarian Kami. And now we'll have the raffle by Secretary Donette.
Okay, thank you, President Francis. Let me share my screen. If you don't have a ticket, you know what? You don't have a chance. So thank you guys for supporting the raffle, and I wish you luck. Let's go. And the winner is Leah Carlo.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Finally. Thank you.
Yeah, so there'll be lots of prizes on Friday, whether you're doing virtual or in person or a drive-by. There'll be lots of opportunities to win raffle prizes as well as bingo prizes. So please support the bingo, please support the raffle, please support the social. Looking forward to seeing you guys. Cresswell, we have a special prize.
Thank you. We'll have the four-way test by Rotarian Eric.
Of the things that we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Truth.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, Rotarian Lavelle. The final toast.
Very good, my son. I'm proud of you.
Coming in from the cold.
Yes. Final toast, Rotarian Simone.
Someone move yours. Oh, Jesus, Dr. Allen. Corey James on.
Asha?
No, because I love this. We'll see if any up there. No, why I'm
So
saying
the
that
host
because
could
we have
return.
multi-
Thank you.
Now our final toast, Rotarian Simone.
Let us raise our glasses, our mugs, water bottles, Rotary around the world.
Rotary around the world.
Oh.
Thank you, everyone, and have a blessed day. Those guests online, please come again. You're always invited. We're always happy to see you and have you participate in our meetings. So thank you all and have a blessed day.
Indeed.
Thank you all for coming. Have a good day. Cresswell, see you on Friday.
Carry on.